It is 8:51 p.m., October 11th, 1983. Flight 710 is somewhere over southern Illinois at 3,000 feet. The engines are running, and the passengers in the back have no idea that anything is wrong. But inside the cockpit, something is happening. The instruments are going dark, one by one, quietly, without warning. And then, a voice. "I don't know if we have enough juice to get out of this." The captain does not turn back. He does not call for help. He keeps flying. But here is what makes this story different from every other crash you have ever heard about. This crew knows something is wrong before the aircraft ever leaves the ground. They fly anyway. And somewhere beneath this dying aircraft tonight, 9 airports sit open in the darkness, 9 runways, 9 chances for 10 people to go home. Every single one of them gets left behind. What really happens inside this cockpit tonight, and why, is the question that will keep you watching until the very end. If you are new to Tragic Flights, welcome. Hit subscribe, drop a like, and share this with someone, because this story deserves to be heard. This is Air Illinois Flight 710. To understand how 10 people lost their lives on this night, you need to understand 2 things: the aircraft and the man flying it. This is the Hawker Siddeley HS 748, British-made, twin-engine turboprop, born out of the same stable as the Lancaster bomber, but designed for something far less complex than war, something far less glamorous than a luxury plan. It is designed to be dependable and efficient, made to replace the aging Douglas DC-3s, which still fly the short hops around the world. It can carry 48 people, it cruises at 285 miles per hour, and 2 Rolls-Royce Dart turboprop engines power it. So reliable, so well tested, so well trusted. Even the airlines that operate in the most hostile environments on the planet trust them completely. In 1983, on the short hops of the American Midwest, this plane is everywhere. It is the sort of plane you fly on without thinking twice. This is the plane assigned to Flight 710 tonight. It is N748LL. Now, the first thing to hold on to. This plane is 10 years and 1 day old. Its engines have started up 10,000 times. Its wings have flown through 1,000 storms. It has carried hundreds of thousands of people across the Midwest and brought every last one of them home. 10 years and 1 day, with a perfect record, as if it had been counting. Air Illinois, a small regional airline, operates from Carbondale, Illinois, 11 aircrafts, 225 employees, and moving 25,000 passengers a month through 6 states. Travelers are simply moving through long lines with background noise, ordinary and forgettable. Another airline with a name that fades from memory as its luggage appears on the carousel. But how this airline presents itself to the public and what they are on the inside are 2 completely different concepts, and those who spend 2 years poring over the wreckage are going to discover this in a big way. Now let's look at the captain. Captain Lester Smith, 32 years young, and young for a captain. Those who flew with him are interviewed. They will say this: average. And this word will make its way into the official NTSB report. Average. His peers described him as an average pilot, one known to cut corners and to make decisions that seemed unhinged. Smith and his schedules have a relationship that transcends professional pride, a compulsion, a constant, underlying, and subtle pressure to arrive on time, no matter what, and a willingness to sacrifice nearly anything to ensure this happens. He flies through storms. Other captains fly around. He exceeds the descent rates allowed in the aircraft manual, and when the cockpit alarm systems go off to try and catch this sort of activity, he instructs his first officers to pull the circuit breakers, to shut off the alarm, to allow him to get where he is going on time. He flies with the warnings off, every time, until one night there are no warnings left to silence. One of his regular first officers is approached by a colleague and asked how she just sits there next to him and lets it happen. "I just try to monitor the situation. I never let him get into a position that I don't think I could take control of and rectify." She is ready to take over at any moment. Because when it comes to this captain, you have no choice. On October 11th, 1983, Smith reports for duty at 10:50 in the morning. Not to fly, just to start his shift. He spends the next 7 hours traveling as a passenger on other Air Illinois routes. Carbondale to St. Louis to Iowa, Iowa back to Springfield. When he finally settles into the left seat of N748LL, it is past 6 in the evening. Over 8 hours on duty before the engines even start, tired, behind schedule, and about to take the controls of an aircraft carrying a problem nobody has bothered to fix. The HS-748 has a DC electrical system. There are 2 generators, one on each engine, and they power all systems necessary to keep this plane alive in the air. The instruments, the radios, the navigation systems, etc. All those things that keep this plane flying and that we depend on, and we never even know we're depending on them. Lose both generators and the aircraft reverts to a battery, designed to provide time to locate a runway and land. But how much time? Approximately 30 minutes. And then darkness. The following is what the investigation ultimately reveals about N748LL. The right generator has a history of maintenance problems. The problems are written down. The problems are filed. And 11 days before this flight, another Air Illinois pilot had a problem with the left generator. He does not bother to write it down. He does not bother to file it. He simply figures somebody else already knows. Somebody else already knows and is doing something about it. Not so. The more the investigation digs, the more ominous the situation becomes. Inspections of parts are done ahead of schedule. Paperwork is altered to reflect compliance. Maintenance records are removed from filing cabinets before FAA auditors arrive. The inspector assigned to oversee electrical work for Air Illinois is absent for 5 straight months. He has gone in for surgery. His replacement for the job does not have the training for the job, and he openly admits it when asked. But perhaps the most chilling information uncovered by the investigation comes when 5 qualified HS-748 pilots are asked one simple question. If both generators should fail, how much time does the battery provide? 5 different pilots, 3 different answers. Nobody knows. Not the mechanics, not the training department, not the pilot presently looking on in horror as the runway of Springfield Airport disappears from view behind N748LL, already 45 minutes behind schedule on this October evening with 7 passengers in the seats behind him. At 8:20 p.m., Smith pushes the throttles forward. The Dart engines roar to full power. The propellers start to pull the aircraft off the runway and into the darkening southern Illinois sky. Southbound to Carbondale, 90 miles. A routine flight for these men, one they have made dozens of times before. 90 seconds into the flight, when the left generator fails. The response to that failure is simple. Contain the problem. Isolate the failure. Fly the plane on the right generator until the problem can be solved. Difficult, but manageable. First Officer Tudor reaches for the switch in the overhead panel. He reaches for the wrong switch and switches to the right generator, the one that has failed, and in one motion, kills the only power source left on this aircraft. The battery kicks in immediately, silent, and the countdown, invisible to everyone on board, starts. At 8:21 p.m., the crew contacts Springfield departure. Captain Smith, we've experienced a slight electrical problem. We'll keep you advised. Slight. That's the word he chooses to describe an aircraft running out of power. The controller asks the obvious. Are you returning? Springfield sits right behind them, 2 minutes away, clear runway, good weather. The simplest decision in the world. Captain Smith. Negative. We do not intend to return. Returning means delay. It means the schedule gets worse. It means explaining himself. And Lester Smith does not do that. 12 minutes into the flight, Tudor gives the captain the complete picture. Left generator finished. The right generator, the one he inadvertently shut down, is producing some power, but cannot maintain it. The battery is supplying everything currently and will not continue to do so for long. Smith begins his descent, asks for direct routing to Carbondale, no emergency declaration, no diversion, No complications in what he has already committed to in his own mind. And below this plane, the Midwest has a different solution to the problem Smith is refusing to face. Because the ground below Flight 710 is not empty wilderness. It is laced with small cities, county roads, and airports. 9 of these pass silently beneath Flight 710 in the next 20 minutes. 9 available runways. 9 safe landings. All of these were ignored without a second thought. 20 minutes into the flight, the cabin lights dim. Smith's one act of compromise, cut power load, gained some time. Still, the instruments, radios, and navigation systems all continue to draw power from a battery nearing depletion. Still, no one speaks the word that both men are already thinking. At 8:51 p.m., the battery reads 13 volts. A fully charged battery reads 28 volts. At 13 volts, Flight 710 is not running low on power, it is running out. Tudor speaks up at last. First Officer Tudor. "I don't know if we have enough juice to get out of this." Smith replies, not in panic, not in urgency, not in alarm, not in fear, not in any of those things. Just in reply. Not in reply to anything in particular, just in reply. And then, after a brief pause, "Captain Smith, do you have a flashlight? Have it in your hand. This is not a plan. This is not a mayday. This is a flashlight." And the only preparation he makes for what he already knows is coming, and he is still pointing this aircraft toward Carbondale. At 8:53 p.m., the cockpit voice recorder stops in mid-sentence. The battery is dead. Every system on this aircraft shuts down at once. The flight instruments go dark and still. The radios fall silent, and the navigation equipment shuts off. The cockpit lights go dark. In N748LL, somewhere over the Illinois farmland, the only light in the world is the weak, wavering beam of First Officer Frank Tudor's flashlight moving over a panel of instruments that has nothing more to say. 2 men, complete darkness. No speed reference, no altitude, no horizon, no way to call anyone, nothing. And this is where the human body becomes the enemy. But there is a condition that has ended more flights than almost any mechanical failure in the history of aviation. It is a condition that requires only one thing to exist: the removal of the pilot's visual reference to the outside world, and the inner ear immediately begins to send false information to the brain. Information that feels completely real. The sensation of the plane banking in towards the Earth is translated as level flight. The sensation of descent is translated as level flight. The body is telling the brain everything is just fine. Pilots have flown an operating aircraft into the Earth with complete confidence that they are climbing. It is called spatial disorientation. And right now, in this cockpit, it is almost certainly working on both men. Smith is flying 46,500 pounds of aircraft through rain and darkness with nothing anchoring him to reality except the seat beneath him. At Kansas City Center, the radar controller is aware that the blip on the screen for Flight 710 is no longer transmitting, no transponder, no radio. The blip is simply gone. Just outside Pinckneyville, Arilla Fisher is in her farmhouse listening to the October rain. And then, beneath the rain, an engine, a turboprop engine, way too low, way too close, circling above the dark fields outside her home. The aircraft circles 2 times. It makes a lot more noise the second time. She goes to the back porch and pushes the door open into the rain. The sound fills the sky directly overhead, both engines straining, the aircraft banking tighter with each pass. Then the note changes. Deeper, closer, something descending fast through the dark. Smith, later, will be judged to have seen a faint line of lights in the blackness below, pale, linear, roughly the shape of an airport approach system. It is strip lighting from a nearby coal mine, industrial ground-level lamps that have nothing to do with aviation. But from 2,400 feet, flying blind in the rain, with spatial disorientation working against every instinct he has. It looks exactly like a runway threshold. He lines up, he descends. He thinks he is saving his passengers. I see one flash, I hear a lot of noise. The flash is jet fuel catching as the wings shear through the tree line. At 9:10 p.m., Air Illinois, Flight 710, strikes a dark hillside pasture 6 miles northeast of Pinckneyville. The fuselage breaks apart across the terrain. Wreckage scatters across a quarter-mile of southern Illinois countryside. No distress call, no emergency squawk, no final transmission. All 10 souls aboard are gone. There are no survivors. The probable cause is given without any softening. Captain Smith's decision to proceed to Carbondale after the loss of power from both generators, instead of returning to Springfield 2 minutes behind him, driven by a compulsion to stay on schedule, which overrides his judgment and his knowledge of how much time he has left. But the investigation does not stop at the captain's door. Because what the NTSB finds when it looks deeper is not one man making one bad decision. It is an entire organization that has quietly normalized dangerous behavior for years. Air Illinois does not train its crews on generator failures. 5 qualified pilots cannot agree on basic battery endurance. The FAA does not enforce these training standards. Records are falsified. Paperwork is backdated. Documents are hidden before audits. The inspector meant to oversee electrical work is absent for 5 months, and in his place, someone totally unqualified. And within this organization, pilots are struggling to keep up with schedules that human bodies were not built to maintain. An airline carrying 25,000 passengers a month on falsified paperwork and borrowed time. But NTSB board member Patricia Goldman cuts straight through the report's language to the truth at the center of it. The pilot should never have continued the flight to the destination airport. He should have returned to the nearby airport on realizing that DC power had been lost. That is the safety lesson. Air Illinois gave up its operating certificate in December 1983. A brief attempt to restart in January 1984 goes nowhere. By April, the airline is bankrupt and finished. Not destroyed by the crash itself, but by everything the crash reveals about what it has always been underneath. The investigation also redefines the way regional air travel works in America. The FAA redefines the way they handle small airlines. Training on generator failures is standardized. The rules on duty time are made stricter. Mechanics are better protected when they speak out. The loopholes that allowed Air Illinois to operate the way it did are closed. Not because the airline industry is willing to close them, but because 10 people died. The reasons why are impossible to ignore. 10 people died, an airline industry forced to confront itself. One thing is left unanswered in this story, one thing that no report will ever answer. 8:21 p.m. is the time the Springfield air traffic controller calls out to Captain Smith, asking him if he intends to make it back. Smith says no. What is going through his mind in those final moments? Is he tired? 8 hours on the clock before the engines even start? Or is he arrogant? He's been cutting corners his whole life, never been made to pay the price. Or is he something else? Something more human? The inability to say the words aloud. I cannot handle this. I need help. I am turning back. We will never know. The tape cuts off before the end. Whatever is going through Captain Smith's mind as he flies through the rain, through the dark, through southern Illinois, whatever he is thinking as he flies blind, stays there, in the dark, untold. We do know one thing. A clear runway is 2 minutes behind him. 9 more are below him in flight. The first officer tells him candidly that they are not going to make it. The instruments fail one by one, and each is a message no pilot would ever misunderstand. He has every reason to turn around, and he chooses not to. He chooses the schedule over the souls in his care. 10 people trust him with their lives on an ordinary Tuesday night in October, and they run out of time because of a decision made in the first 60 seconds of the flight, and never unmade in the 30 minutes that follow. If you have stayed until the end, thank you. Every regulation protecting a passenger today exists because someone did not come home and someone else made sure it would never happen the same way again. Air Illinois Flight 710 is one of those stories. It changes the rules. It strengthens the system. It makes every regional flight safer for everyone who boards one after it. That is what 10 lives leave behind. It is not enough, but it is real. And it matters. Rest in peace to all 10 souls aboard Air Illinois, Flight 710, October 11, 1983.